Christian is a professor of biology at the University of St Andrews and a founding president of the International Biologging Society. He has diverse research interests and has led teams to push the boundaries of this field through innovative tools, including the first deployments of miniature video cameras and proximity loggers. Christian's also a member of our advisory committee for this project, the Tracking Progress project. And so we're really delighted he's agreed to join us today, and we'll be providing a brief introduction to the topic and laying the groundwork ahead of the other speakers. So thank you so much, Christian. Do you want to take it away?
Thanks a lot, Steph, and hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here today with you. It's a really exciting session to try and bring everything together. I would just like to acknowledge the funders of our current animal tracking work. It's the Moore Foundation and the National Geographic Society. I thought I should start off by providing a basic framework that perhaps can help us to identify opportunities for making progress and for innovation. And this framework maps roughly on the structure the WILDLABS team has put together for this virtual meetup series. So let's start thinking about the technologies we use. I put tags here, but that could be other technologies. Well, those technologies generate data, which we need to analyze. That was the second meetup we had. Those analysis results or findings are then being shared, and alongside those results, we hope to share the data that underlie them. Of course, implicit in these discussions we had over the first three meetups is that everything starts with a question, and usually that question links to addressing some conservation challenge. But there are two other things I would like to highlight, and perhaps we can cover them in a bit more depth during today's discussion, and that is the question of animal welfare, which I believe shouldn't be an afterthought. I think it should take center stage in any discussion about the future of this field, and that of course relates to both the questions we want and we can ask and the technologies we use for tackling them. But then there's the bigger picture, and that's that all of this depends on the community pulling together. It's all of us. And by community, I mean not just the researchers, I mean the manufacturers, I mean the data scientists, I mean all of us. And I think it's worth thinking about how we can come together to push the field forward. And yeah, hopefully if we pull everything together, that'll be a good foundation for today's discussion. So I want to very briefly go through this framework, starting with the tags. Of course, the kind of technology we want to use should relate to the question we're asking. And as I mentioned, that should link ideally to some ambition to tackle conservation challenges further down the line. Of course, we all want things to be smaller, lighter, better, faster. And there's really exciting developments in this field, but perhaps today we can focus primarily on new conceptual advances, so new ideas for using technologies. I'm thinking about onboard processing and event triggering, which a lot of people in the field are excited about, as they are being used, for example, in these pioneering anti-poaching tags or other concepts like drone guiding tags. Thinking about animal welfare, I think it's really important that we bring together best practice protocols. I know they exist for specific taxonomic groups, but the International Biologging Society is running a working group that tries to pull everything together across taxonomic groups. I think that's very important. There's really exciting work happening on minimizing the energetic impacts of tags. We know that size and mass is not all that matters, but also the profile of the tags we use. And here's something I feel quite strongly about. I think we should let tag miniaturization benefit the animals we are studying. I put up this little graphic here to explain what I mean. So as our tags are becoming smaller, we have the ambition to try and study those animals that are gray shaded in this distribution, the smaller animals. So small tags means we can study small animals. But I would like to make a plea for using those small tags on the larger animals we have been studying. I don't think it's helpful to titrate the tag mass to become the maximum allowable for a given species we want to study. So let's use the smallest possible tags on our animals. In terms of analysis, they are, of course, tightly linked to the technologies we use that generate the data. There has already been a lot of talk about machine learning and AI during earlier sessions in this series. I think there's a really exciting development towards real-time and very high-resolution tracking. We are converging on something people in the human sociality research field have called reality mining. We are getting pretty close to mapping reality with some of these technologies, which poses interesting questions for how we analyze those data. Or do we actually have to analyze them if we have mapped reality? I think integration with other data types is really important, and I see huge scope as these data sets are becoming more and more complex and larger for innovation in terms of data visualization. Onwards to data sharing, well, that requires a community push. We all have to pull together to achieve that, and that has massive benefits further down the line for conservation efforts. What I think is really important here is the issue of data standardization, which has come up during the third meetup, and it's something that the Biologging Society is also working on with a working group. We talked about public data repositories and collaborative consortia, such as the COVID-19 Biologging Initiative. I want to conclude by talking very briefly about the community, about who we are and how we can work together. I think it's incredibly important to build a unified, diverse, inclusive, welcoming, and supportive community, and to create that space for good, strong collaboration, for identifying synergy, and for driving progress. And to really focus on initiatives that generate benefit for all, and not just some of us. And those really were the guiding principles of the International Biologging Society and one of its main initiatives, the COVID-19 Biologging Initiative. It's trying to bring together the community to work together. I want to end with flagging a forthcoming opportunity. Myself and a few others are editing a special issue in eLife later this year on new frontiers in movement ecology. And there will be a call that announces that shortly. And I hope that the WILDLABS team will be able to share that. But please watch out for that. It would be great to channel some of these ideas into that special issue. And I will leave it here. Thank you.